Disclaimer. This is a work of satirical fiction. Any resemblance to real places or situations is purely coincidental and exaggerated for comedic effect. The story intentionally contains factual inaccuracies and absurdities as part of its artistic expression.
Jeff and Apples walk the street, talking about the sky so neat. Weather, weapons causing storms, globalists with secret forms. Jeff and Apples, what a pair. Whisper plots while breathing air. Apocalypse is on its way, but they still find time to play. But they still find time to play. But they still find time to play.
How you doing today, Apples? Oh, pretty good. What's going on? I'm gonna head out of this couch. What's going on? World War III? Bombs about to drop? I'm gonna get under here. You go for the walk. I'll be here when you get back. I'm gonna have some tacos. Yeah, even Apples seems to know what's going on. She's getting ready. I'm recording this on Sunday morning, which I don't normally record on Sundays. I usually take that day off. But things are happening so fast now that, well, I thought if I don't do this video now, there might not be another chance. That's kind of where we're at. Now, I don't necessarily expect the entire world to be, in chaos like tomorrow, but it is totally possible. So, based on that, I thought, okay, I should put out maybe my last video before this all goes down. Because we now live in a world where a madman who just tweets like a drunken lunatic basically can start things like World War III. I know it sounds insane. That's the idiocracy we have today. And of course, he doesn't even tweet it. Do you think he's sitting there with his fat little thumbs tweeting all the time? No. Has anyone ever seen him actually tweet? He probably doesn't even know how to do it. But anyway, the people who control him send out his stuff. And here's what he sent out. Well, first of all, he said, just the day before, we don't use the strait, we don't need it. And then the very next day, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Yeah, so that's kind of why I'm doing this video, because that was yesterday. He said, if Iran doesn't open the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours, so that's like Monday, they're going to take out all of their power plants for a country of, I forget how many, I think it's like 100 million people. Like just a massive, massive event if that happens. And then, of course, Iran seems to have these mosaic sort of missiles that are like under the sand in the desert or something that aren't even controlled by anyone. They're like a dead man's switch sort of a thing. And they're just firing off. And so it's possible that by the time you see this video, we might be just a few hours away from the US basically trying to kill everyone in Iran because they're so evil. I can't believe I'm saying any of this, actually. Like, this is all so insane. And then Iran potentially taking out every sort of energy facility in the Middle East.
Iran has drawn the ultimate red line. If their power grid is struck, they will unleash total hell. In the first savage wave, the IRGC unleashes a storm of ballistic missiles and massive drone swarms. Targets detonate in fireballs. Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanura and Abqaiq refineries erupt. UAE's Jebel Ali and Taweelah power plants explode into flames. Qatar's Ras Laffan LNG terminal is shattered, and U.S. bases like Al Udeid plunge into darkness and chaos. Then, cyber strikes black out entire grids and communication networks in an instant. The death blow. Water desalination plants, the desert's last lifeline, are obliterated. Saudi's Jubail and Yanbu, UAE's Fujairah, and facilities serving 70 to 99% of drinking water for 62 million Gulf people. Israel suffers the same fury. Missiles hammer Orat Rabin power complex near Haifa, and the 5 giant coastal desalination plants, which supply up to 86% of the nation's water for 10 million people. The aftermath is pure nightmare. Over 72 million souls plunge into total darkness and deadly thirst. Cities become sweltering death ovens with no power or cooling. Hospitals turn into silent graves as ventilators fail and patients gasp their last. Water taps run dry, unleashing mass dehydration, raging epidemics, riots, and desperate refugee waves. Oil exports crash, igniting global energy meltdown. This is the terrifying reality Iran threatens. One strike could trigger an unprecedented catastrophe of biblical proportions.
And if that happens, like it's already very, very, very bad. Even if you stopped everything right now, you just stopped it all, you flipped the switch, you said everything's done now, we're still going to see massive chaos and massive problems in the world very quickly. Just with the reduction in the current oil and natural gas that's been taken offline. I see a bunch of people talking about, oh, if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, it's all going to be fine. But that's not the case. A lot of these facilities have been taken out.
The largest LNG infrastructure in Qatar is burning. And if this continues, the world is not looking at a normal crisis. It is staring at a full-scale energy shock. Because this is not just any facility. This is Ras Laffan Industrial City, the heart of the global gas system. And it has just been hit by Iranian missile strikes, targeting key infrastructure, including the Pearl gas-to-liquids plant and multiple LNG trains. Massive fires have broken out, and the damage is being described as extensive. Now understand what this really means. Qatar controls nearly 20% of the world's LNG supply. One country, one system, one flow that powers entire regions. And right now that flow is under serious disruption. This did not happen randomly. This is part of a growing chain reaction. Just one day earlier, Israel struck Iran's South Pars gas field, the largest gas field in the world, shared between Iran and Qatar. What we are seeing now is retaliation, action followed by reaction, and each step is hitting the global energy system harder. The numbers already show the shock. Brent crude oil has jumped to around $110 per barrel. European gas prices have surged between 35% and 77% in less than 24 hours. Markets are not waiting, they are reacting instantly. And here is the dangerous part. Qatar had already halted production earlier this month. Now, with fresh damage to infrastructure, repairs are no longer a short-term problem. Analysts are warning this disruption could last not weeks, but months, possibly longer. Now think about what happens next. First comes the price shock. Energy becomes expensive almost overnight. Countries begin competing for limited supply. Wealthier nations secure what they can. Poorer countries get pushed out of the market completely. Then comes the second wave. Shortages, power cuts begin to appear, industries slow down, factories start shutting, global production drops. And when production drops, everything becomes expensive. Food, transport, manufacturing, all begin to feel the pressure. Inflation spreads through the entire system. Now look at the global impact. The United States may not rely heavily on LNG imports, but it depends on a stable global economy. If Europe and Asia slow down, US markets feel it instantly. Stock markets become volatile, demand drops, and recession pressure builds. In Europe, the situation is far more direct. LNG is critical for electricity and heating. A prolonged disruption could lead to energy rationing, especially during high demand periods. Entire industries could slow down or shut completely. In Asia, the damage spreads through manufacturing. Countries like India, Pakistan and Japan depend on imported gas to keep industries running. If supply tightens, factories slow, exports drop, and global supply chains begin to break. And once supply chains break, the impact doesn't stay local. It spreads everywhere. Electronics, vehicles, food products, everything becomes more expensive. We have seen a version of this before during the 1973 oil crisis. But back then the world was less connected. Today, the system is tightly linked, which means one disruption creates a chain reaction across the entire planet. And here is the most dangerous part. Markets do not run only on supply, they run on fear. Once fear enters, countries start hoarding, prices rise even faster. disaster and the system begins to destabilize itself, this is no longer just a regional war. This is an energy war. And energy is the backbone of everything. If this disruption continues, we are not just looking at higher prices. We are looking at shortages, instability, and a global economic slowdown.
So things are already incredibly bad. All the stuff I've been talking about in my last few videos is going to happen. You can't stop it now. Like, this is already the biggest event easily in our lifetimes. Well, depends how long you've been alive, I guess. I guess if you're one of those, I think there's a few of those multi-thousand year persons around, but in our regular lifetimes, well, you know, if you're 100 or 90 years old, World War II is pretty massive, pretty massive. This is basically getting close to the same levels, but on a totally different way. And that's what is so pretty ingenious about how they did it. Because I mentioned 2 videos ago that most people had figured out the carbon stuff, the global man-made warming, is complete BS. Like, no one's really heard from Greta in a long time. And no one cares, because most people, not all, but many people have figured it out. It took them like 10 or 20 years, but they finally figured it out. It's like, oh, it's a total scam. Even Trump said that at some point. So that, you know, he puts out some of the truth. But I was wondering, how are they going to achieve a lot of their objectives, which is basically to kill and enslave most people on Earth, if they're not going to do that man-made global warming carbon tax sort of a thing, which they still are doing, by the way. They're still doing it. But like, if people in Canada know, they're still getting a carbon tax in Canada. Canadian people are so, they're so asleep, most of them. And even if they do know that it's a scam, they're not going to do anything about it because they're so whipped dogs, unless they're playing hockey. But they still want to achieve those goals, but now they have to do it differently. So now it's a war that just happened out of the blue, you know, just they had to do it. And they're just blowing up so much of the oil and natural gas supplies on Earth and the production facilities to get them out and stuff like that. And like I said, it's already bad, but if they do this, so this is why I rushed out to do this video today. If they do this one, like, let's say they do it fully. So the US takes out all of Iran's energy, electrical, everything. And Iran responds by taking out pretty much the entire Middle East, all their desalinization plants, all their power plants, basically making it unlivable, actually. Which is kind of what I've said for years, that like, Dubai is such a, like, I've actually said this numerous times in the past, that Dubai probably won't even be here 50 years from now. Like, it's such a unnatural, it's in the middle of a desert. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But if this happens, and this is why I'm doing this video. If that happens, let's say Monday or Monday night or Tuesday, whatever it is, pretty quickly, within hours and days, most of the world will be shutting down in various forms. They're already doing it, and they haven't even done most of this major stuff that they're talking about doing next. But this is all part of a greater plan, of course. And this is something I've been talking about for decades. And they used to pose it as the global warming carbon sort of stuff. But because that wasn't really catching on, they're doing it this way. But they're still trying to achieve the same objectives. Like, here's from the UK what their carbon plans were. This is from a document online. You can go read it. Absolute zero by 2050. By UK Fires, delivering the UK's climate change commitment with incremental changes to today's technologies. So here were their plans, by the way. From 2020 to 2029, which is where we are, development of petrol diesel engines ends. Any new vehicle introduced from now on must be compatible with absolute zero. They've done most of that, a lot of the electric car stuff. For rail, growth in domestic and international rail. So they want all the trains. Flying all airports except for Heathrow, Glasgow, and Belfast closed with transfer by rail. They're already basically moving towards that. Shipping. There are currently no freight ships operating without emissions, so shipping must contract. Oh, that seems to be happening now. For food, national consumption of beef and lamb drops by 50%, along with the reduction in frozen ready meals and air freight food imports. Electricity, wind and solar supplies grow as rapidly as possible. They've already been doing that. Fossil fuels, rapid reduction in supply and use of all fossil fuels except for oil for plastic production. Rapid reduction in supply, you say? That seems to be exactly what's going on. But that's just for now. Look at what their plan is for 2030, which is their big Agenda 2030. For 2030, they want all road vehicles, all new vehicles must be electric. For flying, all remaining airports closed. They don't want any airports. That's already kind of happening if you look at what's happening right now. Shipping, all shipping declines to zero.
Zero!
Yeah, all shipping goes to zero. But within about 4 years from now. Well, it looks like it's already started. And that's how most of this world has run most of this time, is shipping. Then if you go to electricity, they want a 4-fold increase in wind and solar. All non-electrical motors and heaters phased out. And then for fossil fuels completed phase out by 2030. Now, if they just came out and said, oh, we're going to force you guys through carbon taxes not to do all that stuff, people would probably do something, you would think. They don't seem to ever do anything, but you would think they'd do something. So they had to do it differently. Now it's just like, well, there is no oil or natural gas anymore, guys. So now we're going to go to net carbon zero. And by the way, you're carbon. And that appears to be the way they're going. And it's already basically begun. Like I said, even if nothing else happens from now on in, and that's like the chances of that are pretty close to zero.
Zero!
Energy lockdown has started. US, East Coast power failure, massive outages reported. United Kingdom, national grid alert. Rolling blackout begins. France, nuclear output reduced, power rationing in effect. Italy, gas suppliers exhausted, emergency measures activated. Germany, industry curtailed, factories halt operations. China, export curbs lifted. Saudi Arabia, production cuts announced, global supply strain. India, statewide blackouts. Australia, southern states outages. There's a few places that this is going to hit way harder than other places right now, and it already has. And that's Australia. Just went through years of being locked down and beat up, forced to wear surgeon's masks and told to inject themselves with poison. Now they're basically almost out of gas right now because a lot of their gas comes from Asia and a lot of that gas comes from the Middle East. And already that's starting to shut down. They're within a week or two in Australia of not having any oil or gas or anything like that. And then some of the other places that'll be really affected are Europe, which has like knocked out most of its power and energy and electrical and knocked down all their nuclear plants. This is all part of the agenda, by the way, while people kind of cheered. It's insane. As I said in my last video, it's a good thing it's not winter coming up, or you'd actually see most people in Europe possibly dead within a few months. But because it's summer, it might not be that bad yet. But if I was in Europe or Australia, I'd be getting out like now, like right now. I'd turn off this video and watch the rest on the plane. I'd go somewhere else. Now, where are you going to go? Well, you know, no place is going to be easy or safe or perfect. Mexico's still pretty good. Mexico's got a lot of oil, but I think a lot of its refining is done in the U.S. I could see the U.S. cutting that off at some point, saying they need it, or because of the cartels, or whatever. That's why I'm getting my solar panels all put up. I've already got some, but I'm getting the rest up as quickly as possible right now. That's my last sort of thing to do here, by the way. Hopefully I get them up in time. There's lots of other places too, but if I was in Australia or Europe, I'd actually I'd pause this video and watch the rest from, I don't know, like anywhere else but Australia and Europe. Those are going to be the worst. Well, obviously the Middle East. If I was in the Middle East, yeah, if I was in the Middle East, if you can get out, you can't for the most part. Get out of there. Obviously Europe, obviously Australia. Those are the main areas that are pretty critical that you get out if you can. And this is what I've been saying. What I've been saying for years, right? I've been telling people, get out of those places. And I've also said when this stuff happens, it's going to happen really fast. So you have to think ahead. Now, lots of people have. There's lots of people watching this video right now who've actually, I hear about them all the time. They all moved to Mexico during the COVIDs. They're all like, I'm so glad I did. And that's cool. There's also other options too, by the way. There's Nicaragua. Now, no place is perfect again, but way better than other places right now. You have ECI Development, has their Grand Pacifica right on the beach in Nicaragua. I did a video from there like a year ago or so. I'll put a link to it on screen and down below. They accept crypto, they accept gold and silver. You can also just go and rent there for now. They've got lots of places to rent. It's actually like a libertarian sort of enclave. It's not very expensive either, by the way. But anyway, if I was in those places, like I said, I'd watch the rest of this on the plane. And I'm not even joking. Now, will things get that bad in the next couple days or weeks that I'll be proven right on this? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, it could, and it really could. And that's why I'm doing this video on Sunday. There might not be much time left. Now, they might not do these things, right? They might not blow up all of Iran. Iran might not blow up all of the rest of the Middle East. But that's what they say they're going to do, and they've already done a lot of the things they said they were going to do. So, I don't want to cause, never panic, never be in fear. But if you were thinking anyway of getting out of where you are, think hard, trust your gut. Just go, pause this video again, go find a river. If you can't find one, what are you doing? You should be living somewhere close to a river or nature or something. Go out into nature. Go be quiet and ask Source what you should do. And then just wait. And you'll probably be sent a message. See, we already get Wi-Fi from Source. Most people don't even know that. You can get all that. That's the best AI. It's actually I. It's not artificial. It's the true intelligence. You have a direct line to it. Go ask. And then pay attention to what you receive. And then trust your gut. Trust your body. Your body's way smarter than your mind. Your mind's the stupidest part of you. It causes it causes all your problems, actually. Everything. Anyway, I should get into this. I haven't even got started yet, and I wanted to make this quick. But you see what's happening in the U.S.? They don't even have these oil problems in the U.S., but they've actually made it so flying is almost impossible. They're even talking about shutting down the airports in the U.S. now. What a surprise. And it's because, they can't get any of these TSA people to come irradiate you or sexually molest you. Now, here's the thing. If everyone just said, screw it, we're not even going to stop at the TSA line. We're all of us, we're just going to walk through and just start pushing the two TSA guys who are there out of the way and walk to our gates. If everyone did that, they just kind of go away probably. There might be a little bit of a few people arrested sort of a thing. But people just need to stop listening and obeying what they say, right? All these problems in the US can be easily taken care of by the people themselves, but they never do. They're just waiting in line for 4 hours in LaGuardia. I wish I should vote, go to a closet and vote so I fix this. The only way you fix all this stuff is with your own personal action. But they're shutting down all the, air travel is pretty close to done at this point. And that was one of their main goals.
There's going to be people of means who are going to travel. And then there's going to be people maybe who of lesser means who might actually be able to use an Oculus or a Magic Leap or some other kind of device to travel to the same place, but from their own couch. But in many ways, it's actually going to create even more distance between those two people that psychologically, and I think that we've experienced this through social media, in many ways it's brought people closer in certain ways, but actually created this remarkable divide because it's even more visible.
Yeah, they just want basically rich people to be able to have air travel. And that's basically how it's become. And that's how it's going to be now with oil if it goes up to $200 a barrel. Your average person won't be able to afford to fly. Only people who have quite a bit of money will be able to afford to fly. That's another reason to actually try to make capital, right? Just to give yourself options. But this is like the biggest, this is way bigger than the COVIDs. This is the biggest thing since basically World War II, is basically what it is. And how many people out there even can see that? Like nobody. Like your average person has no clue. Most people never get it until it's obvious and it's too late for them to do anything about it. But you're not like that, so you can take advantage of lots of stuff, including making fortunes right now, which we're doing at the Vigilante Insiders Club, which you can join. It's still open. $dollarvigilante.com/Vic. Because there's going to actually be fortunes to be made as all this goes on, because hardly anyone realizes what's going on yet. That's when you make fortunes. And also get our newsletter. So I heard from some people, it's like Vigilante Insiders Club, they can't afford it. Well, again, I'm offering our newsletter, Dollar Vigilante, for free right now. You'll get it free for a few weeks. And then even after that, it's like $20 a month. Like it's nothing. But anyway, go to dollarvigilante.com/free trial. And we've got about 20% of our portfolio in shorting the markets right now, which have been doing really well lately, but it hasn't even started yet. So it's not too late at all. But a lot of stuff's going to be too late in a couple days. Like that's how fast this is all going to happen. And they're already shutting down and turning off the power in various places. They actually turned off, basically made it so there's no power at all in the entire island of Cuba.
Peter?
When you say Cuba is next.
Cuba. I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good honor. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now.
Now, how long will it be until Cuba is completely, basically Mad Max sort of a situation? We'll see. Although I have to say, I've been to Cuba, and people there are very resilient. They've been living under dictatorial communism for 100 years, and they have basically nothing, but they're always still fine. But we'll see how they do without electricity now. They'll probably do okay, actually, now that I think about it. But, it's not going to be easy. But that's the kind of stuff they're going to be doing. That's going to happen all over the place, by the way. And of course, there's all kinds of different objectives and agendas. And, I don't know all of what's going on. Nor can I foresee exactly how this is going to play out. But it's very interesting that a lot of these places that have been bombed were kind of already being planned to be basically rezoned, restructured, or moved. Like Morgan said on X, so Qatar LNG gets hit. By morning, Cheniere is at an all-time high, Venture Global up 61%, and Wall Street is buying notes out before the damage assessment is in. European firms had signed forward supply deals for U.S. liquid natural gas 17 days earlier. What the headlines missed, every facility struck was already scheduled for demolition or redevelopment. Ras Laffan phased out for Northfield expansion, plan filed 2020. Ras Tanura had a $2.6 billion modernization filed in 2019. Jebel Ali mid-demolition for luxury development. The Iranian strikes kept landing exactly where the bulldozers were already going. Then look at Iraq, the development road. $17 billion corridor bypassing Hormuz outside every U.S. financial choke point, with Chinese engineering and investment throughout. Al-Fa, Basra, Baghdad, Mosul, Erbil struck node by node before it became operational. The only military air presence tracked consistently over every strike corridor was American. Just enough damage to knock competing infrastructure offline. This isn't a war, it's a restructuring. And yeah, there's all kinds of stuff like that going on probably as well. Like this is this is incredibly massive plan with all kinds of things going on that I can't even, no one can keep on top of it all. But I'm trying. I'm recording on Sunday just for you guys. It's a free video, by the way, for all the people like Jeff. some of the things you're offering cost money. You're such a dick. It's like, you know, these videos cost me over $100,000 a year to make, and I'm doing one a day lately. I could be with my family right now. I could be just getting ready and just laughing and saying, haha, you guys were stupid, you know, but I was ready for it. No, I'm trying to help you guys, okay? I don't know why I do it, but I do it. I don't know how much longer I can do it either. That's the thing. This might be our last video. Like, it really could. We're at that point. We're getting very close right now. It's interesting, too, to look back at the last massive financial crisis. And it was a long time ago. I can't believe it's been 18 years since 2008. That's what spawned and made it so I created the Dollar Vigilante newsletter with Ed Bugos. Was after that crash, I was like, okay, we got to tell people how this all works and get them ready for the next big one. Well, we're here. But one of the things I kind of forgot over time, because it's been 18 years, is that oil went up dramatically right around the time that financial crisis happened. And so it's kind of interesting to notice now oil's going up massively, dramatically again, and what that might cause.
July 11th of that year, there was another important first. The price of oil hit $147 a barrel, the highest price the world has ever seen.
When oil began to go over about $80 a barrel in 2007, we saw something very interesting happening. All the other prices for all the other goods and services started to go up.
Most of the people who follow the price of oil for a living say it's headed for $100 a barrel, and quickly, as early as tomorrow.
When oil hit about $122, $123 a barrel in early 2008, we had food riots, you recall, in 22 countries. When oil hit $147 a barrel in July of 2008, all the prices across the supply chain for everything we buy went through the roof. And in that month, July 2008, purchasing power shut down all over the world.
It seems that everything is costing more.
Food costs expected to rise 4% this year.
Just 60 days after oil hit $147 a barrel, for the first time in history, the stock market fell a record 777 points in a single day.
The worst day on Wall Street.
The market fell as if down a well.
We're down over 16%.
Because we're now down 43%.
The Dow traders are standing there watching in amazement, and I don't blame them.
And that was the economic earthquake. The collapse of the financial market 60 days later, that was the aftershock. And so every time we tried to regrow the global economy at the same rate we were growing before July 2008, oil prices will go up, all the other prices for everything we buy will go up, and it'll shut down over and over again.
Every time the price of oil goes up, a few months later, unemployment soars.
So we have this catch-22. When the oil price is low, that stimulates economic activity, that creates more demand for oil. As demand increases, price of oil goes up, and the next thing you know, we have a financial crisis, and we start the cycle again.
Every 4 or 5 years, we're in these cycles of growth, slowdown, growth, slowdown. That's the end game.
Yeah, we are probably on the cusp of a massive, massive economic and financial collapse, unlike anything ever seen. And you can actually make fortunes with it. You can join the Vigilante Insiders Club. I'll help you, like, personally, one-to-one every day through this. DollarVigilante.com/Vic. Or get our newsletter for free right now. I'm making it free, just so everyone has access to it. DollarVigilante.com/free trial. And I've said in these videos how I expect at some point I'm not going to be laughing and joking as much because it's going to be so horrendous what's going on. And if they do this thing in the next couple days, we'll see famines that will kill billions of people probably. Unless they are really smart, right? But most of them are in cities. Most of them have no idea how to do anything. Most of them don't live on farms and stuff. They don't have their own food supply. They wouldn't even know how to do it. And that's why I was saying, get out of the cities. They're starting to get all the things I've been saying and why. And I mean now. This is, if this happens, what they're saying for Monday, you won't want to be in any major city on earth for the most part, for the foreseeable future. And I mean years. But it might not happen on Monday, we'll see. And if so, you might have a few weeks or maybe even a couple months to get things organized and figure out what you're going to do, because a lot of the fertilizer of the world has basically already been mostly shut down. And you can tell this is an agenda as well, because they've been taking out all this stuff that is needed for fertilizer, like sulfur and other things like that. Nitrogen, I forget exactly. But a lot of those have been taken out already in the Middle East. And if they do this next thing, then it'll mostly be gone. But you can tell it's an agenda because they're also doing it in drumroll place. I'm so sorry for you people in Australia. Australia. Glitch shuts Australia's biggest maker of vital fertilizer input for 2 months. What a surprise. Just a glitch. I don't know what they got about you guys in Australia. They're coming after you guys hard. They're shutting everything down for you guys. Like, I'm not joking when I say, like, for me personally, if I lived in Australia and if I didn't have a completely self-sufficient, off-grid farm with all the stuff I've got here, if I lived in a city in Australia, I'd press pause and watch the rest of this video on a plane to anywhere else. Well, not the Middle East. Most anywhere else. Like even Africa. Like anywhere else. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it looks like it is. I don't know what they got planned, but, you know, no oil, no food soon in Australia. Now, of course, here's the thing. Australia's got tons of oil supplies and oil reserves. But the government, who's in control of the big satanic pedivore cult, has never allowed them to ever do anything with it. Instead, they spent billions of dollars putting up wind farms that actually cost more to build than you ever get out of it, and actually lots of people made billions of dollars off of it. Anyway, with the fertilizer stuff, like that's why I said, these videos might not be so fun when we're watching like billions of people starving to death, basically. Or who knows, maybe I could still make it funny. No, probably not. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're going to get to a point where this isn't going to be fun anymore. And there's really no point in even doing these videos anymore. But we're not at that point yet, so we can still have some fun. But here's something interesting. In the past, whenever fertilizer stocks, like the shares of fertilizer companies went up dramatically, two different times it actually happened at the same time that a massive stock market crash happened. Like here, the S&P 500 in red and the fertilizer stocks in green. In 2006 to 2009, which was the last major financial crisis, fertilizer stocks went up a lot and the S&P 500 dropped massively. And then during the COVID, same thing. Fertilizer stocks went up and the S&P 500 dropped quite a bit that time. And now here we are, fertilizer stocks going up, and the S&P 500 has just started to go off, just started to go down. I'm short so many things right now. I'm short the German stock market. I'm short, I can't even remember. I'm short so many things. And this is all the stuff we talk about in the newsletter and and I update in real time in the Vigilante Insiders Club. So make sure you at least have one or the other. One's free, one costs about $600, $700 a month or something. But it's very exclusive. It's just for like 300 people. It's just for like the people who really want to get the best information in real time. But it's also interesting to look, like I said, everything's going to collapse, and that's what we're seeing. Like I'm basically reporting on 2008 before it all crashed, right now, like the day before, the week before, or max a month before. Because this is all going to start to happen. And what would you do if you knew about this a week or a month before or a day before it all happened in 2008? Well, you'd short massively the markets. And that's what we did. We actually have lots of stuff on that in the newsletter. Like 20% of our portfolio is shorting the US stock markets. And in the VIC, I'm doing that all the time. So, you don't have to go down with everyone else. Like, a lot of people are going to lose everything. But you can do pretty much the exact opposite. That's what I do. But you look at the bonds. This is getting crazy. All the government bonds. The UK is now at 5%. That's the first time since April 2008. Just months before the crash and Lehman Brothers collapsed and everything collapsed. Australia, 5%, highest since July 2011. So it's been 15 years since it's been that high. India, nearly 7%. South Africa, 9%, multi-year high. US, 4.39%, highest since last year. New Zealand, 4.7%, multi-year high. And it goes on and on. They're all going up. That's 23 countries, all moving in the same direction. Every government is now refinancing debt at crisis level costs. The US alone is paying $1.23 trillion per year just in interest. That's 42% more than just 2 years ago. The last time these signals all fired together was the late spring of 2008. 4 months later, Lehman collapsed and the global financial system nearly collapsed. This time, the debt is 30 times bigger than it was in 2008. Speaking of US national debt, the government debt, Donald Trump, both times before he got selected, said he was not only going to balance the budget, but he's going to pay off all the debt. Now, it's really not possible, but that doesn't matter because people don't understand how these things work, and they just believe whatever the guy in the television programming tells them. But he actually did the exact opposite. He increased the debt of the US government more than any other president in history. The last time with Operation Warp Speed, where he tried to kill everyone in the US. Are you starting to get this yet? Knock, knock, knock. You starting to get this? Anyone out there? And now with this war, they just asked for another $200 billion. The national debt's skyrocketing. All 44 other presidents, other than Donald Trump, increased the total debt of the US by $25.5 trillion. Trump alone, in just 5 years, has increased it by $13.5 trillion. More than half of all the debt ever. And this is what I wrote about in my book, The Controlled Demolition of the American Empire. And this is all happening now. All of this stuff's going to destroy the US. It's done. It's over. And it's so incredible. They have people like Pete Hegseth up there. He's asking for $200 billion to kill basically everyone in Iran. But at the same time, he says the problem with Iran is that it spends money on weapons and missiles instead of improving life for their people.
To that point on capabilities, Iran is an energy-rich country, could be, should be. Instead, like so many other places driven by a radical ideology, they've spent that money instead of investing in their people. And that's why you had millions of Iranians protesting, because they felt like their quality of life didn't match what it could be or should be. And what was the Iranian state? There's a reason we call Iran the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, because they took the money they make and they invest it in tunnels, and they invested in missiles, and they invested in launchers and UAVs, and we are destroying and degrading that in historic proportions. But it doesn't mean they won't still have some and try to hold people at issue, which is why we're fighting every single day to continue to compel. And you mentioned embassies and consulates. Unlike previous administrations, we are doubling and tripling down on ensuring that our people, regardless of their Department of War, Department of State, whatever they do, are secure in those facilities. And the best defense is a good offense. And so we're not afraid to go after and kill anybody, and we have a lot of them attempting to target our diplomatic facilities. Iran, we're not surprised that they would indiscriminately target, and we're still seeing that.
As he's extorting $200 billion more on top of the $1.5 trillion that they just tripled in the last 2 years for the military, he's saying the problem with Iran is they spend so much money on the military and not taking care of their people. Meanwhile, here's the streets of the US. And meanwhile, I was speculating on was Netanyahu alive or not, and they put out all these AI videos that were clearly AI. But he seems to be out in public now, and it does seem to kind of be him, although he does look different. Might be a clone, I don't know. But maybe he's not dead. And if that's the case, then that was all just what they're doing to distract you from all the evil stuff they're doing, right? They just had people for days like talking about that. I talked about it just to it's a point of interest, but I also said I don't care if he's alive or dead. This has nothing to do exactly with him. He's just an actor. But apparently, if he was hurt in that missile attack, maybe they put him back together. Maybe he's the 6 million man.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. A man barely alive. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic man. Maybe Netanyahu will be that man. Better than he was before. Better, stronger, faster.
Yeah, he's the 6 million man. That's pretty funny if you don't get it. I'll just let you think about it for a bit. I'll give you a clue if you're not old enough to remember. There was a show called The $6 Million Man, but he's the 6 million man. You can probably guess why. That's pretty funny. I actually thought that video was kind of stupid until I saw what they called it. But anyway, he's back out in the streets, and of course, just like Hegseth, he's like, these people are so evil. Look, they're attacking Israeli civilians after they've been killing what looks like 500,000 to 1 million little kids in Gaza for about 3 years now. And all of Gaza looks like this. And he's now saying Iran's so evil because they're attacking civilians.
In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck, not their intention. Their intention is to murder civilians.
It's all so incredible to watch. I can't believe any of it's real. And it actually isn't real. None of this is real. This is an experience you're having. It's like a 3D video game that you created for yourself. So just be smart and enjoy it and try to win the game. That's the whole point. And I'm telling you all the things to do to win the game. But it's incredible, too, that it's actually this week was the 23rd year anniversary of the second Iraq war attack, terror attack by the U.S., where they killed 500,000 Iraqi children. But that was 23 years ago, basically this week. And now they're going into Iran. Well, they're still in Iraq, although everyone's lighting their bases on fire there now, including the locals, because they're like, get these evil people out of here. They've been here for like 40 years. But it's kind of interesting to go back and look at what George W. Bush said at the start of all that, because you might as well just put Trump's face on it, because he's basically saying the exact same things. It's all the same lies.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign. More than 35 countries are giving crucial support, from the use of naval and air bases to help with intelligence and logistics, to the deployment of combat units. Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you. That trust is well placed. The enemies you confront will come to know your skill and bravery. The people you liberate will witness the honorable and decent spirit of the American military. In this conflict, America faces an enemy who has no regard for conventions of war or rules of morality. Saddam Hussein has placed Iraqi troops and equipment in civilian areas, attempting to use innocent men, women, and children as shields for his own military. A final atrocity against his people.
Yeah, George W. Bush was saying how they're going to go into Iraq and show people how brave and moral their army is. You know, just like the most moral army in the world, the Israeli army. And very quickly after that, they were setting up torture prisons. And they've been doing stuff like that ever since, for like decades. Now, is Iran going to turn into that? Well, they're talking about sending in the troops now. And, you know, this is going to get absolutely insane. You know what's even more insane? While Trump's doing all this, he's still trying to make, like, money just, like, with stupid little products. Like, he's basically setting off World War III. But if you watch Fox News, this is an actual ad on Fox News for the boomers on Fox News. Oh, those people. Could someone just unplug their, you know, yeah, just destroy their television sets. And, you know, if they get a new one, just steal it or something. We got to get them off the mind control. Because they're sitting there being told that, they're just doing, this is so awesome what they're doing. They're killing all these people for freedom and trying to free them. And meanwhile, they're getting ads like this.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today.
Yeah, get your Trump fight based on his fake assassination. I can't believe any of this is happening. I can't believe I'm watching all this. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. I just wanted to get this out because this might be the last video we ever do. Because if they actually do this thing, like if this actually happens, and the Middle East is basically wiped off the map in 2 days, the world will immediately go into crisis. And you won't have time probably to even watch these videos or anything, for the most part. Unless you're really smart. Unless you've got a place, you know, off-grid. You got numerous power supplies. Maybe you've got a lot of capital because you're in the Dollar Vigilante newsletter, the Vigilante Insiders Club. So those are the things you should do if you're actually in Australia. Well, first one's the Middle East. If you're in the Middle East, are you insane? Get out of there. Oh, by the way, my friend who was at the Puerto Vallarta fake terror attack, and then he went straight to Dubai, and they were bombing Dubai right afterwards. He did get out. He got out about a week after that video I did with him. There was only a few flights that got out, and he was on one of them. And you know, that's another thing that I talk about. He actually was on that trip to Egypt with us. He's an incredibly spiritually connected person. And when you're like that, you can get out of crazy situations. It just happens for you. You can kind of manifest it. It's kind of like doors open for you. It's kind of like in Star Wars when the drones are all looking for you. You can just be like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
It might be running out of time, but maybe not. Maybe you still got a few weeks or months. But last night, Cielo got into a fight with Luna, and Luna cut her up pretty bad. And actually, the dogs have been acting weird lately. There's a weird energy. I think it's most of the world's being energetically affected by all this war stuff. But she was bleeding pretty bad, and I actually got the Tesla machine on her very quickly, and she was all healed up. And again, that's what I was saying. If everything goes down, what are you going to do when you have like emergencies, like, you know, your dog's bleeding and stuff like that? Well, you can have all of that in your own house with the Tesla machine if you're part of the Tesla club. But I don't know how much longer you're going to have to even get it. But you know how I was saying if I lived in Australia, I'd already be on a plane by the time I finished watching this video? If I didn't have a Tesla machine, I would join the Tesla club before, like I'd pause this video right now and I'd find any way possible. I'd borrow money, I'd do whatever I had to. I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what I would do because I know how powerful it is. If I didn't have a Tesla machine for the Tesla club, right now, I would actually pause this video and just go figure out how I can get the funds to be a part of the club and try to get it shipped to me as soon as possible to make sure I have it for the apocalypse. But you can do it right now if you have the opportunity. Just go to tesla.club. And yeah, like I said, this is going to be wild. This is everything I've been talking about. I can't believe it's all happening. Like every single thing I said was going to happen is now happening. We're actually in the it's happening part. We're not in the it's going to happen part. And now it's just a question of how long, how bad, and, you know, what's going to happen next. And again, if I wasn't in the Vigilante Insiders Club, if I was like a regular person, I wasn't me. Not to say I'm not regular. Like we're all one, okay? I am you, you're me in Lakesh. But if I wasn't in the club, Vigilante Insiders Club, I would like do anything to join it right now. Because there's going to be so many opportunities that we're going to find throughout all this. Like when there's chaos and blood in the streets, even the Rothschilds said this, when the blood is in the streets, that's where you can make fortunes. And it's unfortunate, and I don't want it to be that way. And they actually cause it, so they do it on purpose. I'm not causing anything, but I can see what they're doing. I can see how it's going to affect everything, and we'll take advantage of it and also probably make a lot of capital during all this. So it doesn't have to be bad at all. In fact, all you need to do is connect with Source and everything's fine. I actually saw someone ask me that. They're like, Jeff, I can't afford any of these things. I can't afford the Vigilante Insiders Club. I can't afford the Tesla Club. What can you tell us for people like me? All you got to do is do the work. See, the fact that you're asking me shows you haven't done the work. And you might say, what's the work? Just start meditating every day. And if you don't know how to do that, just figure it out. Like you know, it's not that hard. Basically, you just go sit in a room and you watch your mind. And over time, you get more and more relaxed. And over time, you get to higher consciousness levels. And over time, you get to connect more. Then you get all the miracles and whatever you want. You can manifest anything. That's actually the only thing to do. Like, forget everything else I said this whole video. Just go do that. That's all you need to do. And then if you want to manifest a Tesla machine, you can. I've seen numerous people in the Tesla Club, because I said that before. I said, if you want to manifest it, you can. And they said they tried, and it happened. So you can do that too. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We should go find apples. This video definitely went longer than I thought. But hey, it might be my last video, so you know, might as well enjoy it while I got it. Oh, there's apples. Yeah, I'm not going out there. It is way too hot. I don't know what you're doing. I guess you wanted to get this out early. I guess something crazy's going on out there. But you know what? We're just chilling out. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't think about anything. All I think about is maybe sleep, eat some tacos, you know, give some kisses. Oh, this is my favorite day. Sunday. Tacos.
Right, this is just a real quick video for Jeff's audience on the Operation Golden Return. Essentially, there's a false matrix overlay on the Earth. One of the biggest key nodes for that false matrix overlay, the synthetic matrix, is Iran. That is why there's a war there. In Iran, there's a Stargate. A Stargate is a major broadcast frequency node where it sends a signal. In this case, the signal running through the Iran Stargate for thousands of years has been corrupted with a false wounded masculine overlay. the patriarchal masculine hierarchy control, but also war broadcast. Now, if you think of the Stargate like this vertical signal, the horizontal line is where they control the timelines, and they control the synthetic timeline, and that's what we're currently in. The synthetic timeline grid is called the Golden Eagle grid, and that's been running a reversal current as a frequency. Now, what you have to understand is that in this matrix, and while we're in the physical realm, the realm is made of frequency, energy, vibration, and consciousness. These things make up the realm that we're experiencing in the physical matter. All the work that Jeff has been teaching and sharing with you about the physical layers and about the control systems is the physical manifestation of the realm of frequency, energy, vibration, and consciousness. And then that's the experience we get with all these crazy three-letter organizations, central banking cartels, etc., etc. The satanic ritual crowd, who is into the human trafficking and sacrifice, all that crowd, they do it to send that loose energy up into the synthetic matrix to siphon, so the matrix can siphon that energy out. What we're doing is a counter move to the Iran war. What they're trying to do is send as much fear, pain, suffering energy to flood the Golden Eagle grid, the horizontal timeline grid, because previously there's been a lot of pressure on that grid to flip from being reversed to being Christic. If you've followed Jeff in Egypt, essentially a big massive vault repository opened, and that vault is sending original organic source codes through the Middle East region, threatening to flip the Golden Eagle grid. They could see that happening, and their Iran war is a hastily arranged maneuver to drown out the signal. 2 to 3 years ago, the Iran Stargate was retaken in a root initiation. That's where a lot of the heavy lifting on the planet gets done. You might have heard Jeff talk about that with a session with Iboga. We had someone on the floor who was from Iran, who had the keys to the Stargate, and we were able to reclaim the Stargate, which was the last one remaining from the 12 Stargates on the planet. The Stargate is reclaimed, and the vertical signal is under Christic operation, but the horizontal signal is under enormous pressure from the war. We're asking you at home if you would like to be part of the counter move by having a distributed, decentralized crystal network that sends a holy ground frequency, which is known as Malkuth, which got reclaimed in Egypt. Malkuth being holy ground, we're going to program into your crystal, connect that up with the full vertical spine all the way to source, and that crystal is going to live inside your home, which I'm sure will be a nice frequency for you to be a part of. And then we're going to send that current through the 12 Stargates, finishing with Stargate 10, to jam the signal with Christic current, and then flood the grid with pure, clean signal. A metaphor that you might be able to understand is that there's a dirty river running through the Middle East, and we're about to open a clear, pristine river of pure Christic source energy through there. If you'd like to be a part of it, check out the video on the Iran equinox ritual, the golden return. That is the video where we'll lead you through the ritual. You'll need one really good crystal and everything will be led through. If you want to get the backstory on the full energetic architecture of Iran, watch the video before that, which is all about the Iran war. And then there's another video there on systems theory, which you can understand what's going on. We're about to enter a window where things are going to get really turbulent. This is the wars, their latest play. The next play in their playbook is the economic meltdown with a bank collapse and subsequent things that Jeff's been warning about for years. That's coming up in the next 2-3 months. But let's counterpunch right now with this Christic signal, flood the grid, and take out that Armageddon software, which is the main broadcast through the Golden Eagle grid. The Armageddon software takes the 3 major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and creates an end of days scenario within it that is the program that how the religion ends so something new can start. That is a false program. That is the major signal going through the Golden Eagle grid. That is the one we're going to override together. Hope to see you on the ritual video. Thanks, Jeff, for letting me chime in with a little update on that side. All my love.